So if there's anything that you don't want to carry with yourself around, you're welcome to just set it down, and we'll end up right back here.
Your mic's up, Blue?
Yeah.
Have you been anywhere else today, Capitol Building? From
California.
California. Cool. Welcome to Maine. Have you been to Maine before? Here in this house. So this is as a gift for his wife for about 5 years at this wall. So everything that we're going to be walking through after this was added on in the 1870s after James Blaine.
They can just move on. The Blaine House is the house of the current governor of Maine, who lives upstairs.
This is our sunroom. This was originally an outdoor patio. So this patio floor is the original patio floor. But James Blaine and his family closed off this portion of the house after they renovated it and expanded it. I don't know where the state was housing the governors, and in 1919 this house became available to the state. James Blaine, and on top of this table is our Maine State necklace. So this is tourmaline. This is the Maine State jewel, and the gold is also sifted right out of the Swift River during the governor's inauguration events. Piano still gets used today. This is actually a lot of Governor Mills's private collection, and she's a little all over the place. She's got some classicals. She's got some Broadway. She's got some Elton John. So she's got a pretty broad taste in music. But here in Central Maine, and they come in and decorate the house. So as I mentioned before when we first started, James Blaine was a politician down in Washington, D.C. He was a member of the Senate, he was a member of the House of Representatives, and he was even Speaker of the House for 2 years. And in his years down, and when James Blaine built his private study here, Abraham Lincoln used in his private study. So this looks like an empty picture frame. That's actually a piece of private study to show. And in this desk here we have a pass, a piece of paper. So this was at the end of the Civil War. And this is a note that's 1865, which is just 1 week before Abraham Lincoln was a tour guide. It's been a while since I've given some. We had a Governor McKernan, who liked to just walk through the room to go to work across the street.
And he even got a note from him. Blaine was a fan of Abraham Lincoln, so he has a lot of Abraham Lincoln stuff, like this picture. And he even got a note from him to pass between two cities. And Lincoln gave him this note a week before he was assassinated.
Nice. To the last part of it.
Oh, just Lincoln gave him?
Yeah.
Right. And Lincoln gave him this note a week before he was assassinated.
This not quite as old. James Blaine did have a pool table in here. He did love to host and entertain down in this area of the house, but this is not the original pool table. Air conditioning. I heard on family using this room. You're going to notice a lot of photos on the wall. These are all of the governors that have lived here in the Blaine House. So Maine has had many more governors, but these are just the 20. He was the first governor to live in the house. And it circles all the way around.
Does the governor hang?
One assumption a lot of people make with James. So you need me to position it a different way?
Oh, no, it's fine, yeah. Thank you.
Even though James Blaine lived here, he was not the governor. Even though James Blaine lived here, he was not the governor, but he was a politician. And
Ran against.
oh yeah, and he ran against Cleveland, so Maine almost had a president.
We're gonna say the full name.
No, everyone knows Cleveland. And he ran against Grover Cleveland for president, so the U.S. almost had a president from Maine, but to this day, they still have not.
One-gate clock. But this clock was gifted to the house in 1919 when Governor Carl Milliken was the first governor moving into the house. And now we have a little more natural sunlight again, right down that quarter of the house. So this is our family dining room. This is the smaller of our two dining rooms. Above the table here we have a Waterford crystal chandelier. Actually, the gardens. So when I kind of evolved over the years, I'm way more knowledgeable and understanding of everything going on out there than I am. So I'm so grateful we have them. Actually renovated in the early 2000s, processed the honey and bottled it up for us. Here we have our gilded clock. This was gifted to the pretty big family in the mid-coast area out towards Rockland. Now there's a big art museum. Offered to put this on loan at the house. So Havana Harbor in Cuba in 18. So it was originally believed to be an act of war. A town called Waldoboro out towards the coast. About 40 bit more work. I feel good with them now. I enjoy doing it. After they salvaged the ship, we now have our silver on display here. That means I lead all of our china. So we retired that, put it on display, and we have an identical set now that can tolerate the new dishwasher. So point out as we wrap things up. So the Blaine family gifted the house to the state we have this house today, the People's House, because of these.
1, 2, 3, trees. Let's go.
I do want to moo cow. Wait. Our next stop is the Blaine House. Okay. Our first stop is the Blaine House. Now we are at the Blaine House. That is the Blaine House. The first thing I was surprised about is that the governor still lives up here, because most of the time when we go to historical homes, they're not being lived in anymore. And there were some pretty unique rooms in there, such as the Abraham Lincoln room.
Anything further?
I don't have.
Anything you want to say about it?
I like the pool table.
That was cool, but I don't know.
Okay.